The people that are watching this at home who say, I'm not a political professional, I want to get engaged and involved, I hear you talking about self-care, and for some of them, their self-care is to tune out until they actually have to be tuned in. What do you say to those folks?
We don't need politics and civic engagement to be a biannual freak out. It needs to be a daily habit. So if the news that you are consuming, I'm sure it's not MSNBC, but it's maybe outrage politics on social media, if that is making your blood pressure raise so much that you end up checking out, that means it's not good. And one of the things we have in the book is a worksheet to help you audit your news diet. Because the goal is to figure out how to pull in information, because being informed is a key component. But you want to make sure that you're pulling in information that helps you become more politically active and makes you want to get engaged. So maybe there's a local newsletter that you want to start getting so you can find out what's happening at your kid's school. Maybe it's figuring out which newsletters, which journalists you want to follow on social media. There's so many different ways to get, and we want to make sure, one of the things about this book is there's no specific action that I can tell you that applies to everybody across the board. So the book walks you through figuring out what your civic action plan is, so it's meaningful to you and sustainable for you.
I love that.
Sammy, in the book, you guys talk about civic engagement as a form of self-care. What does that mean? What does that look like?
So we also tie this to the idea that we are all going through a loneliness epidemic. Yes. And part of that is because people are so siloed. We're getting the simulation of relationships from our digital, online contacts, but the real relationships that make, life, that improve people's quality of life and helps them feel supported and cared for and helps you feel like you are doing something for other people are those real interpersonal, in-person relationships. And, part of the irony is that Emily and I actually met online. But, what we want people to understand is that it's not that it has to, everything online does not have to be negative or, blood pressure spiking. But cultivating intentionality around, trying to get off your phone, be involved with your neighbors, the idea of rebuilding this social trust is ultimately something that will help all of us. There's this idea that autocracy is really just a bunch of atomized individuals who have all sort of had to cede themselves to the state, and they don't have this interpersonal identity. They don't have these connections. There's a reason that autocrats actually try to monitor and map people's relationships. It's because friendship and relationships and contacts can be very dangerous to an autocrat. And so when we are involved citizenry and we are interconnected with each other, we're speaking to each other about our issues, which is actually the most effective way of changing people's minds and increasing voter turnout. When we are engaged with each other, we are not only helping the loneliness epidemic, we are helping democracy and our own personal quality of life as well.
Sammy, Emily, the book, I love it so much. One of the most beautiful covers I have ever seen. A perfect gift for your friend who is super engaged or your friend who is ready to check out. It is called Democracy in Retrograde.
I want one.
Sammy Sage, Emily Amick, you can have one.
I got two here, Michael. Okay. I have two. I have one for you as well.
Thank you.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn.